It's going to work this time. We'll try again and see. Please work. YouTube. And, okay. I thought I was getting might be working. Let me see if it's going to work. Live. So crazy.
I know, is it working?
I'm hoping so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Let me see. Please work. It's working. They're saying it's working. Yay! Okay. Is it working? Yay! Oh my goodness. Okay. You know what? I don't know if I can. Okay, because if you could move. Oh, I don't think you moved to. No, the other way. Yeah, because on YouTube you're like off the screen. I think. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
Can everybody see Kim on this screen? Because I don't know. It's just my. Henny, can you let me know if it's if everybody's visible? Hey, Preach Queen, how are you? That was crazy. I don't know, and I checked every live and they were all out. That's so nuts. Yeah, let's not, right? Too scooter. Okay. Very clear. Everything is good? You can see? Okay, good. All right, so this is Kim Devins, and she's from Utica, New York, which is about, what did we say, about 2.5 hours from me, or probably 3 hours from me. I think you're west. I'm terrible with directions. It's just
where
she's
you?
Up there. I'm in Sullivan County, but about an hour east of Binghamton.
Okay, so yeah, I'm west of you.
Yeah, so somewhere in there, but you're not all the way up by. Let me see. You're not by Watertown. Is the other? I always get Watertown.
Watertown is north. Yeah. So we are about an hour east of Syracuse.
Okay. Gotcha.
We're like right in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, we saw Paul McCartney up there. So let's just see everybody find us again. So they're trickling in. But we had to go to get a puppy. I can't even remember where we went. It was near Lake Ontario, but it was in New York. I can't even remember what the town was. It wasn't that. My direction is. I have a good sense of direction if I'm driving, but I just can't tell you east. I can tell you that way, that way.
I can't either.
Go that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not good, because I always said, my husband's like, we're not, because I used to say, yeah, Binghamton is to the north of us, just because, and he goes, no, it's not north, it's west.
Yeah. Well, you go that way. That's
it's just up. So, it's up.
The GPS. Don't tell me east and west. Tell me to turn right or left.
Right. Yep. Oh gosh. Let's see. Deborah Vancouverden. Hi there. So, let's see if everybody finds us again. Kubi, I don't have anything else open, do I? Is this? I think I shut everything down, so this should be the only one. Was the YouTube? No, it wasn't working, Vero. It wasn't working for anybody. That's why we have to let everybody find us. Hi, 10th Angel. So this is a good community, and we are definitely we don't bash victims of crimes. So you're in good hands here.
Okay.
So how did you your daughter? Why don't you tell us about Bianca? She was an artist, right? A very talented artist.
Yes. So that's like the first thing I want to start out with is I think a lot of people get caught up in true crime and forget that the victims
had a life, and
they had a life. They had a future that was cut short. My daughter was 17. She was a daughter. She was a sister, a friend, a cousin. She had family, and that's the most important thing I think people need to remember is that these people have families.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was a very, very talented artist. She was an aspiring model. She had her struggles with mental health. She was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and she really, really struggled for a long time. Even was in placement and came home in February of 2019, and she was so much better. She still struggle? Yes. you know, borderline personality is a difficult diagnosis. It's not, you know, as a horrible of diagnosis some people want to make it out to be, certain creators. But, you know, she was overcoming it. She finally had coping skills and she was happy. She could see a future in herself. She wanted to be a psychologist because, you know, we fought for 4 to 5 years to get her the proper care. You know, mental health care, and especially for adolescents in the United States, is just really lacking, especially where we are. You know, we live in a small city in central New York. And, you know, I had to send her away to Albany to get, you know, good inpatient health. And she really was doing so well. She graduated high school. And, you know, like I said, she saw her future and she wanted to take her own struggles and help people. And, you know, when you talk to Bianca's friends, you know, the girls that she was in placement with, or, you know, her friends online, I get so many messages of how Bianca helped them. Yeah. And that even though she was struggling, and that's the thing about Bianca, like, she could be struggling, but she would kind of put that aside and always wanted to help people if she could. And then she kind of struggled with that too, because she's like, I don't feel like I'm helping enough. Like, she was just a really, really kind soul. And she, you know, that was Bianca. She could help you. She'd do anything.
And so she wanted to study psychology, right? So
yes, she wanted to study psychology. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she graduated. That was that June of 2019. High school?
She graduated. It was 2 weeks before she passed.
Okay, and then it was and then she had an Instagram, right, where she did some modeling on there, or she didn't
do modeling, and that's what I'd like to make clear. Is Bianca was not an e-girl. Right. I think the media likes to blow it up because it makes a good headline. Right. She liked some of the e-girl like aesthetic. She liked, you know, to do her makeup a certain way, like the e-girls, like the dress. But also Bianca was a 17-year-old that was kind of finding her way. And, you know, I'd wake up and never know what color her hair was going to be because she'd dye it in the middle of the night. Or, you know, you'd never know which style she was going to pick. One day she could be dressed in all black, and the next day she'd be in, you know, hot pink. So she just played around with a lot of styles. So yeah, sometimes she did have the e-girl style.
Now, what exactly is an e-girl? Because a lot of people probably don't know that term.
Girl is, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a certain way that they do their makeup and kind of, like she would do like the black winged eyeliner.
Oh, is it kind of like something like there used to be emo or is it something like that?
Yeah, but it's not as dark and kind of moody as the emo. Like she would have cute little hearts under her eyes.
Oh, okay. Almost like anime kind of? Is it something like that?
It's kind of like, inspired by anime.
Okay.
I would say. And, you know, even Bianca's Instagram, if you looked at Bianca's Instagram in April compared to when she passed in July, you know, it was completely different. Like she would change all her photos and, you know, archive her photos and put up brand new ones. And so she was always just kind of different and, you know, finding her way, playing out with different, you know, looks. So yeah, I would never say she was an e-girl. She had 2,000 followers on the day of her passing. And because of the pictures and because of Instagram and Facebook's failures, to stop the upload and the sharing of those pictures, she's got 65,000 followers on Instagram. So Bianca, prior to July 14th, 2019, no, she was not an Instagram model. She was not an Instagram e-girl.
Right.
Sorry, I've got a nosy child in here. It should be in bed.
So, and then, but how did she connect with Brandon? How did that happen?
They met on Instagram.
Okay.
And then she invited him into her Discord server.
Okay. And they lived like an hour from each other, is that?
So yeah, and that's how they ended up meeting in person, is because, you know, Bianca had a lot of friends online. And she felt comfortable in the online communities. She felt very different, especially because of her mental health. And she just it was easier for her to connect like a lot of kids in the online communities. So yeah, she finally, was really excited that she met someone in her online communities that, had a lot of the same interests, but lived close to her and close enough that they could hang out.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put a let me put up a picture. One of the pictures. Let me see. See this one. That's a picture of you and Bianca. It'll take a minute to come up on YouTube. But she was tall. Well, how tall was she?
5'10".
5'10".
Very tall.
Beautiful girl. Let me see if that's such a delay. Let's see, it's going to come up now. It'll pop up in a second. Mine's still delayed, but I can see my hand moving. There it goes. So that's Bianca and Mom. When was that taken?
That was her graduation party, which was exactly 2 weeks before she passed. Well, from the concert.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. And then let's see, we have, I think it's, which one did I think it's this one? There we go. Very nice. Is that when she was doing modeling? Is the modeling in this? What? The one with the sweater off her shoulder?
Yes, and that was one of her modeling shoots. She was going to build a portfolio with that shoot, the pictures from that shoot.
Very nice. Very nice. So let's see if that'll come up. And okay, so then but your daughter's so beautiful, and the guy is like geeky and weird, and like, did she really like? Do you was it just that it was a friend for her? Like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing is, so first of all, the person that you see on the news,
yeah,
like when the first time we saw his mugshot, we were like, that's not him. That is not. I mean, really, we truly were like, that is not him. Did they put up the wrong mugshot?
Right.
That is not the person that showed up to my house,
okay.
At all. But he was like geeky, kind of awkward, socially awkward. But that was Bianca's type. Like, she liked the geeky kids.
Okay. But he didn't look as crazy as like in that picture.
No,
yeah, because okay, I was saying like I don't.
Yeah, I have to say my best friend that goes to court with us, every time we go to court, she goes, "What's wrong with his hair? Can you please like brush his hair?" Like,
Yeah, he's doing like a comb over, right? Like some kind of wacky comb over.
Yeah, it's some kind of weird. I don't know.
And he's only 23, right? 23.
Himself look crazy.
Yeah, trying to look crazy, probably like Jodi Arias, or something.
Yeah. Like I know that because of COVID, they're not doing haircuts where he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's part of it. But yeah, like that is not the person at all.
Oh yeah,
when we saw him in court, all my family said, "Who's this person? He doesn't look anything like the person we met." I think some of it is him just trying to look
crazy, probably, or
crazy.
Yeah. That's what a lot of them do. That, yeah. So she meets him in May, and then when did you meet him for the first time?
I met him in May.
Okay.
Like right around when she first met him.
Did you have any reservations with him? Like,
no,
nothing?
Not at all. Nothing. No red. That's the scariest part of Bianca's story. A lot of people ask me, if you could do things differently, what would you do? And even the police who collected the evidence and went through it, the DA, the prosecutors said, like, there is nothing you could have done because he hid this so well. He was so good at manipulating even his own family. And no, honestly, the day that Bianca left, we left my house at about the same time. I left a little bit after her. And I went to pick up my daughter from our camp in the Adirondacks, my younger daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she hung around with Brandon and Bianca. And I mean, I trusted him with both of my daughters. And she was telling me on the way home, like, wow, Bianca really found a really nice friend.
And this is Olivia,
telling me how nice he was.
2 years younger, right? She was 2 years younger? Or was she?
She's 2 years younger, yeah. She's 17 now. She was 15 at the time.
So she's telling you he's a great guy.
He's just really nice. He's awkward, kind of, and goofy, but funny. Like, he was, they'd all kind of laugh. And, I mean, we had no idea.
Okay. And then so they decide to go to this concert in Queens, right?
In Queens,
yeah.
Yes.
And she's all excited and going to this concert, right? And then you
Yeah.
have no reservations, and then what happened? Then just you got the police came to the house.
The police came to my house. I can't even tell you what time. Maybe somewhere between 7 and 7:30 a.m. And Olivia answered the door, and she came up to me, and came upstairs and said, "Mom, the police are here. It's something with Bianca." And they told me Bianca had been hurt. And they said, well, they told me, we're here to do a welfare check. We had some calls from something on the internet. We may believe that your daughter may be hurt. And, I mean, I was just so confused because it just nothing made sense to me that he would have hurt her. Well, I think I said something at first, like, she's with Brandon, and then when they told me that they believed he may have hurt her, I just remember being just completely confused. Like nothing was making sense.
Did you think it was a car crash or something? Did you think?
I wasn't sure. I think I don't even think my mind was like
processing.
Nothing was making sense. Nothing was kind of connecting. Because they said he hurt. Then they said, he may have hurt her. So my mind was just kind of scrambled, and then like, okay, well, I got to get her help. Like, where is she? They were trying to find where they were, ping a cell phone.
And now, was she supposed to be coming home? Was she going to hit? What time? So
she was supposed to be coming home, and they had gone to police. They had left it to about 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday. And I told her, like, you're going to be driving back late. So if if he's too tired, you really have to like pull over and sleep. Like, don't let him drive. And I told him, like, don't drive tired. Right. That was my biggest worry, was like something, I'm getting drowsy or something in the car. So, I'd woken up in the middle of the night about 1:30, 1:45, and I tried to call her, and I figured, oh, well, she didn't answer. And I said, well, she's probably sleeping, which at that point she was. She had fallen asleep in the car. So I didn't really, I trusted them.
Right.
I trusted him with my daughter, unfortunately. And so when the police came, it was just a lot of confusion. And, the DA told me, like, even the police had body cams on. They said from the body cam footage, they can just tell, like, how just confused you are. This just doesn't make sense that this would be him.
Right. And then
so it's all kind of coming together as they respond to my house. I guess he had called 911. And so they were trying to ping his cell phone. Mm-hmm. And in Utica, we have a post street and a post street. So they were trying to figure out which one it was.
So at the time they came to your house, they hadn't even found them?
They had not found them. So what happened was Brandon took a picture of Bianca with her neck sliced open and posted it to Discord. And people that saw it in Discord, I think the first call came from Kansas, but then there were several calls: Arkansas, Kansas, Tennessee, Utah, everywhere were calling. Because then he said her name was Bianca Devins from Utica, New York. So they called our local police and reported this, the picture of what they had seen. So that's why they responded to my house.
Yeah, he was 21. They're asking how old he was. He was 21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they found them, and then they came back to the house to tell you, or had you heard anything?
No. So there were a bunch of officers at my house. It's all really fuzzy.
Yeah.
And then some left and went to that scene. The two responding officers stayed at my house all day. Mm-hmm. They stayed with us, and then they just had communication from the officers that responded to the scene.
Right. Okay. And then, so you eventually, they tell you that he heard her?
Yeah. So, and then probably around, I don't know, maybe half an hour later, they said that they located Brandon with a deceased woman that they believed to be her.
Oh, wow.
And I had already, I'll never forget, when they told me she might have been hurt, I called my dad, who lives just down the street from me. And I told him we needed to get here, that Bianca could be hurt, something, the police are here. he was taking too long. So I called him back a couple minutes later. I'm like, what are you doing? You live down the street. And he's like, oh, I'm just getting ready to walk down. And I'm like, no, you have to drive. Like, there's something wrong. And at that moment, when I hung up with my father, my entire body just shook. Mm-hmm. And it was a feeling I've never felt before, haven't felt since. And I think at that moment, I just went kind of numb.
Yeah.
And nothing made sense. This isn't happening. So when the officers told us they believed it was her, I just screamed, it's not her. I just went stomping around my house, went stomping, it's not her, it can't be her, it's not my daughter. Mm-hmm. And it was just pure shock from then on.
Right.
And then, they would come in and say things like, okay, what kind of cell phone did she have? What did the case look like? I know when they told us she had a small black book bag. Mm-hmm. My younger daughter heard it from the other room, and we just knew immediately, like, yep, it's her. But of course, like, my mind still isn't processing this.
Were you thinking at the time that he did this, or you couldn't even process that?
No, yeah, they told us it was him.
But I mean, you were able to process that he did something to her?
Yeah, he did it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I knew it was him, just because of what I was being told. And then, so meanwhile, while we're trying to, like, gather information, she hasn't even been positively identified. It's just, we believe it's her. Right. My youngest daughter, Olivia, had a friend. One of her friends came over, and they're sitting in my kitchen, and I just hear the most awful, blood-curdling scream you've ever heard. Like, I've never heard this sound come out of a kid before. And the picture was sent to my daughter's friend. The graphic picture of my deceased daughter was sent to her 15-year-old friend. And that's how we found out. I guess, like, a few minutes prior to this, I had Bianca's Instagram was logged in on my phone. So I was going through it, and then as information came in and I had to go talk to the police, my roommate, my best friend I live with, took my phone, and she was going through stuff, and she saw the Brandon story that he had on Instagram, mm-hmm. and that showed a picture of Bianca from, like, collarbone down, so you didn't see the wound. She saw that before I did and showed it to my father, and I guess, like, they knew then.
So your younger daughter, her friend, and your father saw the picture?
My younger daughter did not see it, just the friend saw it at first because she threw the phone, just. My father didn't see the worst picture. He saw, neck down. But you could tell it was Bianca. And, before it was even confirmed. So, and then the police did come, and my older brother, who's an RN, mm-hmm. did confirm it was her.
Yeah. So, and what exactly did he do to her? He stabbed her and slit her throat?
He slit her throat, I think, twice.
But then you said she had a wound on her chest?
No.
Oh, no, okay. I thought you said she did.
No,
so,
no, the picture was just chest down.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it was like collarbone down. So you couldn't see the wound, but it was her arm with blood slitter.
Okay. And then he tried to slit his own throat, right?
Yes, he did. He did.
Right. But do you think he tried to kill himself, or he just tried to give himself an injury?
I don't know. The ADA's opinion, she told me that she thinks that he was trying to kill himself, but he didn't anticipate the pain.
Oh.
But I mean, he also did a lot of this for attention. So he may have, unfortunately, he got it right with Bianca, not himself. So he may have just done it for attention.
Right. And then the most horrible part you hear that when did you hear he made a video of this?
Immediately. I think it was either Monday or Tuesday after it happened, within a couple days. Because there was a lot of rumors going around about a video, and there was like a fake video out there, and they said, that one is not authentic, it's not her, but they said there is In the first few days, like we had a lot of meetings with the investigators. They told me that there was one.
Right.
So, I mean, it helped the case.
Yeah.
It's horrific to think that that's
yeah.
something
You didn't never see it though, right?
Did not. No.
Okay.
No. No one outside of law enforcement has seen it. So.
Okay, so he did not put that on social media.
He did not put that on social media. I guess one of the things that he searched was how to live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he was planning to.
I just couldn't get on stream. Yeah.
He just didn't get on or whatever. I don't know what happened, but we're very thankful that didn't happen.
He wasn't a live streamer guy, right? He wasn't a guy that normally live streamed.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
And so at least you're spared that. But that did help the case. And did you say that in the video she asked him to bring her home?
She did. So in the video, I haven't seen the video. I just had it explained to me. He did write a transcript for his certain creator friend, and she sent that to my friend, and I did read it. So I mean, even from his own words and his own handwriting, I guess he was talking about Alex, and he felt betrayed by Bianca, and Bianca was just kind of over it. And Bianca and we don't like confrontation, we don't like fights, we're both similar in that way, so we just get very silent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess he was kind of like yelling at her, and Bianca was just said, are you going to take me home, or do I have to walk?
Right. And
this is the hardest part for me as her mother, because I know that if she got out of that car, she would have called me.
Yeah.
I would have been her first call. I was 10 minutes away from her, and I could have gotten her.
Yeah.
And they said, I've been told, like, she was completely caught off guard. She fought back as much as she could, but they said she really didn't even have time, because he just caught her completely off guard. She was not expecting it at all. So, I mean, even at that moment, the car ride, Bianca still trusted him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that somebody's asking what he was jealous of. Apparently they went to a concert, and there was another guy that she met up with, Alex. Is that who it was?
Yes, she met up with Alex. And I guess they had stopped at a gas station. Brandon went in the gas station, and when he came out, he saw Bianca and Brandon kissing, which Bianca had explained.
You mean Bianca and Alex kissing?
Bianca and Alex, yeah. I'm sorry, Bianca and Alex. And Bianca had explained to him several times, and we had conversations about it. Like, they were just friends. I said, I think he wants more. And she was like, I know, but he understands, where I'm at.
And then, that was towards New York City that happened at the gas station?
Yeah, there was.
So that's
somewhere around
a long ride home. So he's festering like all this.
So that was where he was posting like the different quotes on,
his Instagram from Fight Club.
On his Instagrams, from Fight Club, and then the other one.
And then she fell asleep, right?
I think she was asleep when that happened, because she was asleep in the back, and he woke her up to fight with her again. That's what and that's one way. We know that this was premeditated, because he. Not only did he plan it, he had all these plans. He went and bought rope, and he had a tarp in his car. He had a ton of knives. He said an arsenal of knives. He had like power tools. He had the spray paint, because he spray painted "May You Never Forget Me," which was a quote from a anime book.
Mm-hmm.
And he set the camera up.
Yeah.
So he wanted this videotaped. I don't know what his plans were to do with it. And it just shows, the videotape shows his just coldness. They said he was just very cold, very callous, no feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And so he sets the camera up, and he videotapes this whole thing, right?
Yeah, starts an argument with her.
And he comes back with the knife. Mm-hmm. Thank God she doesn't suffer, right?
Right. No, that's I have to say, that's the one thing. My brother, who is an RN, he came and told me, it's her. He said it's her. And from the looks of the injury, she didn't suffer.
Yeah. One solace, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
then eventually he takes her out of the car and puts her on a tarp, right?
Yes, he takes her out of the car and he laid her down in the woods. And well, you know, after he took his pictures, because he stopped the video, took pictures, and then he laid her in the woods, laid her shoes and her little backpack next to her, covered her with a tarp, and then continued to take pictures of her under the tarp. And she has pictures on Snapchat and Instagram of, you know, him holding the knife, and you can see her with the tarp. And then he built a fire and burned what they think were hard drives and some other things. They're not really exactly sure because it was all burned.
Wow. So, and like from a computer, you think or zip drives?
I think so, yeah, but they really couldn't.
Wow, they couldn't
tell
get
what
anything.
it was.
Yeah.
They said it looked like some sort of hard drive.
And he's never said what it was?
Not that I know of.
Okay, and then when he's then when they come to get him, he slices his throat, so he ends up going to the hospital, right?
Right.
And needs surgery, but then he's arrested after that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. My brother is a nurse in the ICU, and he actually got the call that, you know, this person was coming in, and somehow my father caught him as he was going down to respond, and told him, and he kind of put two and two together and left work. So
yeah, wow, okay. And then when he gets arrested, right away, he enters a plea of guilty.
Not guilty.
Oh,
in
he
which
said not
which
guilty.
we
Okay.
were no, yeah, it's not guilty, and we're told. The DA said this is all very normal. She said at this stage in the game, the judge would not accept a guilty plea.
Okay.
You know, the whole process, and during the whole process, the DA is basically building their case, and at the same time making sure that their case is so airtight that there aren't reasons that when he's found guilty to appeal. So, you know, the judge wouldn't, she said no judge would ever accept a guilty plea, you know, in the first hearing, because they could appeal. You know, they didn't have effective counsel.
Right. Yeah.
So, or, you know, she said, you know, we want them to do some hearings and make some motions, because then he can't say that he did not have effective counsel. So, you know, that it makes it more understandable about why these people always, you know, when you know they're guilty, there's pictures.
Yeah, not
there's
guilty.
video
Right,
evidence, you know.
right, yeah.
It's just kind of the way our justice system works.
Right. Now, the thing is, I want to bring out, had he sexually assaulted her, that you would qualify for Paula's law, which Rosemary D'Alessandro lobbied for and helped Paula's mother get that. And that is, if anyone is murdered under the age of, it was 18, but I think they've got it raised to 21, at least Jones law is, and they have a sexual assault with that person is life in prison without the possibility of parole. No questions asked. There's nothing, you know, that's in the state of New York. In New Jersey, it's Jones law. And that's what she worked very hard to get past. But he did not do anything like that to your daughter.
He did not. And that's the other thing that I'd like to clarify is a lot of people wonder why second-degree murder? Why only 25 years to life? Second-degree murder is the highest charge that they could charge him with in New York State. In order for him to be charged with first-degree murder, you have to either have more than one victim, or the victim has to be a public officer, police officer, fireman, elected official, or the murder has to be committed during another crime. So if you are burglarizing somewhere and you murder someone, then it could be first degree. But so he was charged with second-degree murder with intent. So even though they could prove that, you know, this was premeditated, second degree is still the highest that he could be charged with. 25 years to life is the maximum that he could be sentenced for. I know that someone said on your live the other day, you know, he pled guilty because he took a plea deal, and if he went to trial, he could have been facing more. Well, that's not true. The DA assured us from the first day we met with them, they technically have to offer them a plea deal and give them an offer. He said the offer is the max.
Right.
25 years to life. We will not reduce that.
Yeah, I saw that. That was was it McNamara?
Scott McNamara. Yeah. Well, the ADA on the case, Scott McNamara is our DA, and then the ADA that actually prosecuted the case with Sarah D'Amelio and Mike Nolan.
Right.
And they, absolutely, we were not giving any sort of deal.
Right. Yeah, because Scott said he's getting the maximum. They're not settling. Yeah.
Right.
They're not settling on that. But
so,
yeah.
For him pleading, taking the plea and pleading guilty, he had nothing to lose. Whether he went to trial or took a plea,
he was going to get the same thing.
His punishment wise, he had nothing to lose. He pled guilty because he did not want that video to get out and people to see how premeditated and callous and cold. I mean, he's just a cold-blooded murderer. That's what the evidence showed. That's what the ADs both have told us several times. This was no mental health. Does he have mental illnesses? Probably, but it was not a factor in this crime.
Right. And that extreme emotional disturbance that he wanted to use. Yeah.
So he likes to jump around excuses. Another thing the ADs told me was they would listen to his jailhouse calls, and depending who he was talking to, his story would change. So, he's this great manipulator. So depending on who you ask, who he's spoken to, he was going to use the EDD, and then, no, he wasn't, and he understood that he couldn't, and then other times he would say that he didn't understand that he couldn't. He just changes his story to fit whatever he wants you to know or to hear. But EED was immediately taken off the table because he was evaluated by a psychiatrist for the defense, and they would not, he said, I cannot testify to that. He did not suffer from EED. He did not suffer from any sort of mental health crisis that would have caused this. I know the prosecutors had a, well-known, world-renowned psychiatrist ready to evaluate him. Didn't get the chance, but he did go over all the evidence. He did watch the video and said, no, this is not EED. This is not mental health. This was a premeditated murder, and it just is what it is.
Okay, and let me ask you something. I also heard some crazy stuff, and I want to just clear this up.
Yeah.
That your daughter was taking all kinds of drugs, and she introduced him to drugs and alcohol, and they had, she was just this horror. Is that true?
No, absolutely not true. My daughter was 17. Did she experiment with pot and alcohol? Probably. Was she doing hard drugs? Brandon's father wanted to say, absolutely not. I have my daughter's phone. I have gone through it. Brandon, had talked about getting drugs from his father. My daughter wasn't old enough to buy the alcohol. Right. Brandon was. So if anyone's supplying anyone with alcohol, it's him.
Yeah.
Bianca didn't even like to drink, and her toxicology reports came back clear.
Right. Okay.
She did not have drugs in her system. So I don't know the results of Brandon's toxicology reports because we didn't go to trial. Right. But I do know the toxicology reports of my daughter.
Yeah. So, okay, we clear that up. Yeah, because that's, there's a lot of stuff, and we see it a lot, where it's not, the murderer's family that tries to just put all this stuff out there. We've seen it, like I told you, and it's...
They try to make excuses. And there's also this incel community that, when Bianca was alive, she seems to have angered because, the men in 4chan and Discord, would try to groom Bianca's friends and, abuse them. And Bianca would get them away from them. Bianca would, fight for these girls and get them out of bad situations, keep them safe, tell them, try to keep them educated about what these men are doing, what their real intentions are. And she really piss some people off, for lack of a better word. So yeah, there are these groups that want to say that, you know, Bianca is a whore and she's just this evil person. I mean, there's even people saying she was racist,
Yeah.
which is like the absolute farthest from the truth. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I
and
think a
it's,
lot of people in here know how that works because it happens here on YouTube just with, other things. If someone doesn't
yeah,
want you, if you're doing something they don't want you to do, they'll slander you. And that's like another thing about like the laws and just how they are slandering and hurting the victims of, these crimes. And like I said to you, I'm friends with Sandra Rusak and her son's been a victim here like crazy. They bashed him, and that's why I'm worried about your daughter and, what she's been through and what you
these,
guys have been
yeah, I
through. And
mean, these people are sending the picture of my daughter's body with her neck cut open to my, then 15-year-old, 16-year-old daughter. The comments on her Instagram page are absolutely vile and disgusting. The things that they would send me along with the pictures and saying that she deserved it, and just absolutely vile things that I don't want to repeat.
or she had a death wish, right? It was a death
Right.
wish or
Yes.
something.
No,
Yeah.
Bianca did not have a death wish. Did Bianca struggle with suicide ideations? Yes. But like I said, she got her treatment. She was continuing her treatment, and she was better.
Right.
And, I tell people a lot, when Bianca was at her lowest, I would tell her, and I even wrote it in a card when she was in treatment, that if you can't hang on and you can't find a reason to live, you have to live for me. I will be your reason. Just think of me, hang on, and I promise I will do everything to make this better. And Bianca always kept that promise. And she, she told me, when I felt I didn't want to live, I would think of you. I would think of my sisters. I can't do that to you.
Right.
So Bianca did not have a death wish, because in July of 2019, she was happy. She saw a future for herself.
She was planning to go to college, right?
As someone with a personality disorder, yes, she struggled with, that future and seeing her own future. But she was excited because she was finding ways to coping with it.
Right.
She was seeing a therapist. She absolutely 100% did not have a death wish.
Right, absolutely. And what else was I going to ask you about? So there was a scholarship now in her name, right?
So we established the Bianca Michelle Devins Memorial Scholarship Fund, and we grant a scholarship each year to a college student from our local college that Bianca actually was looking into, that is going to pursue psychology to help adolescents. We awarded the first scholarship in the fall of 2020, and the recipient is actually going to get a master's in art therapy, which kind of felt like, Bianca sent us to her because Bianca loved art, and she used art as a way, very therapeutic for her. So yeah, that's something that we continue to honor Bianca through that, just kind of keep her dream going.
That's nice. And now, on his sentence, 25 years to life, that means in 25 years he comes up for parole?
Yes.
Okay, and then...
So in 25 years, he will come up for parole, and our family will be there to make sure that he's never paroled. And that was a big part of our victim impact statements. I didn't personally address him because I don't think he cares.
Right.
He doesn't care what I have to say. He took my daughter. He does not care about my feelings. So I tried to make sure that the parole board and the judge that was sentencing him, knew exactly what he took. And, that it was premeditated, and he even bragged about it from his jail cell in letters. And he should never be released. Okay. And we're really going to make sure of that. We have a big family.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And then he's like kind of looking I read somewhere, and I wrote it down in my notes, that he was looking to talk to YouTubers, to try to interview with YouTubers and try to get his memoir out there and maybe get that video.
So he speaks to a certain YouTuber that I can't call it reporting because it's not reporting. Talks about true crime.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he wants to write a book. He said it. He said it in court.
Right.
His attorney said it in his hearing when they had to testify about, you know, their defense, and if they gave him the adequate defense. And then he said he wanted to write a book because he wants to help people, you know, at the sentencing when he was able to speak. That's what this is all about. He says he doesn't want to be forgotten. That's what he said at sentencing.
And didn't it sound, well, you can, what it sounded to me when I was going through this, that the change, okay, so he was taking this plea deal, and then you had the pandemic that caused the delay, right? Mm-hmm. And then somewhere along the line, he decides he doesn't want it anymore, right? He doesn't want that plea deal. He wants a trial.
Right.
Okay.
So my theory is, and one of the defense attorneys that was called to testify, you know, about their defense of him in the hearing mentioned it, that we were under contract. My family was friends. We're under contract with a production company to make a documentary about Bianca. You know, as a grieving mother, I just wanted to clear up all the rumors. I was like desperate to tell my daughter's story. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I still feel this way is I don't want my daughter to be remembered from her death photos. I want people to know the real Bianca.
How she lived.
The beautiful person that was she, how she lived, the life that was taken from her, her mm-hmm. dreams, the person she was. So, and unfortunately, we signed a contract with the wrong company. They're a well-known company, production company, and they found this YouTube person that was corresponding with him, and you know, we're having her read his letters from jail, and you know, even had asked her if she could get Brandon to change his plea. And so I believe that once he found out that they wanted to interview him, mm-hmm. he changed his plea.
Right, yeah.
Because he wanted the trial, he wanted his side of things to go out. I think originally he said that he wanted to, you know, save us from having to see the video and go through the trial. He wanted to save his family. He has a grandmother, he has aunts that you know, raised him, that he didn't want them to see that, because mm-hmm. it really shows who he truly is.
Right. And his brother, I saw a statement from his brother from Alaska that said, you know, he couldn't believe he did this. How could you do this? Such a disgusting thing. Mm-hmm. And right, all the So and
you know, that's what one thing I'd like to point out is I don't blame his family. Mm-hmm. I don't have any respect for his parents. His parents are just have their issues. But he has aunts and he has a grandmother that are good people that, you know, unfortunately have to now deal with the fallout of this. That, mm-hmm. you know, I just spoken to the aunt and she says, I don't know how to reconcile the little boy who I was changing his diapers and watched grow up that did this. You know, she met Bianca. Bianca's been to her house. And, you know, right. she was devastated of what did I miss that I could have saved this girl? And, you know, his brother in Alaska is in the military and he's getting death threats. It was not their fault. The only person to blame here is Brandon.
Right. And so what about people that say, oh, he had such a horrible childhood and he didn't get his proper mental health care? And
that is not true. That is not true. I mean, if you look at it, why is his brother in Alaska in the military living a normal life, mm-hmm. you know, serving our country? Right. Okay, that deserves all the respect that he is in the military serving our country, but yet he ends up the same childhood, same parents. You know, there's a lot of people that have bad childhoods, worse than him. Yeah, I know. I've met people that have childhoods worse than him, and they don't grow up to be murderers. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I know from one of the jailhouse calls, his grandmother, he tried to play that to his grandmother, you know, oh, I was in foster care and this, and she said, you know what? No, that's not an excuse. You had me, you had your aunts, your life. Yeah. Did you have a difficult life and you had to go to foster care? Yes. But there are plenty of people out there that had it worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you know, basically it's not that bad.
Right, right, yeah. There's that's what, yeah, I said, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's so many people that, you know, everybody's got scars somewhere, and it just doesn't give you a license to kill someone. You know, you just can't use that
Absolutely.
as an excuse.
It does not. And this is not, absolutely 100% is not, you know, he had a mental health episode and didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
I think you asked in your live, did you think this was a freak accident? Absolutely was not a freak accident.
Right. There were searches. I don't know if we said it on here. He did searches on the computer for the carotid artery, about live streaming. He had a live stream. Mm-hmm. There was a search, and then how to strangulation. Right. He did a search on that. I read.
Yeah.
And then about something about killing people, right, or something. How?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what the prosecution.
And all of this.
Yeah.
All those points you just made were points that were made in the plea allocution, and he admitted to each and every one of those.
Right. And then when he was changing his plea deal, he started to be a wise guy and say, I didn't see those searches on my computer, and I only had the attorney visited me, you know, X number of times, and then the attorney said that's a lie.
That is not true.
Right. We were here this many times, and you saw everything. And, you know, now you think you're a lawyer because you read this edition of this law book or whatever he did. But
that was the most ridiculous thing. He said in the hearing, the prosecution got up and said, you know, what law school did you graduate from? And he said, I didn't go to law school. What college did you graduate from? I didn't go to college. What high school? And he said he graduated high school. He said, so you, with your high school degree, think mm-hmm. that you know more than your attorney with a law degree? And his answer was, with what I've read, yes.
Right, yeah, and he read that edition.
And he said this a few times.
Right, and then the judge said, you know, the cases that you're citing, right, they're not even valid anymore. Then what the prosecutor said, I can't remember what the phrase he used for it, but he said, did you do this? And which basically it is, okay, so you say this case sets one precedent. Do you further research it and see if that case was overturned? Mm-hmm. Shepherdizing. That's what it's called, shepherdizing. And he explained what shepherdizing was, you know, to make sure it was overturned. And he hadn't done that. Right.
So whatever case he was looking at, it may have set precedents at one point, but it was overturned.
Right.
So, I mean, he didn't even have his facts straight. He was aware the EED was off the table. His mental health was off the table because he was evaluated by a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist told his lawyer and him that, you know, I don't see a mental health defect. This was mm-hmm. not EED. And, you know, I cannot testify this to this defense. So, you know, he was lying on stand. He knew that he could not use that defense.
Right. And
without the defense, he really had nothing.
No.
I mean, we had a videotape, so.
Right. And so when people are saying, oh, there's evidence that, you know, is out there, because we hear this in a lot of cases, not just this, that these people on YouTube, they have this new evidence, or they have, you know, evidence no one's seen. But that's not true, because the prosecution has all the evidence, right? They have all the evidence there is. There's no other new evidence that's come out, or that some YouTubers.
There's no new evidence. I mean, there's a video, okay, mm-hmm. of the entire thing. So no matter which way you go, there will never be there is no new evidence. And if he tried to bring up new evidence, there's nothing that is going to prove anything, you know, that's out of the video.
Right. Yeah.
You can't, I mean, this is an open shut case. So, you know, when he tries to tell people that, you know, are going to be his voice, mm-hmm. that he didn't know, that he could have the EED defense, or he wanted that. No, he didn't. Actually, what the second public defender said on stand was he was actually wanted to plead guilty, and the public defender, Luke Niebusch, was making him go through some of the motions and some of the hearings. And he told him, oh, finally, I'm glad you're here because I just want this to be over with. I just want to plead guilty.
Right. They
was
wanted
saying the
him to go to
opposite.
trial, right? It was the opposite. I read that too, that
Yeah,
they told him to go to trial and he said, no, I just want to plead guilty.
I just want to plead guilty.
Right.
Yeah.
And
He wanted him to do, like, just at least, you know, have a Huntley hearing and just kind of, you know, try to
Mhm.
get some of the evidence dismissed.
Yeah, but had he wanted to go to trial, they would have been fully there to take him through that. And it was his decision
Yes.
that he
It
wanted to
was
plead
his
guilty.
decision, and he
Right.
actually, you know, the second defense attorney said he was glad to see me because he said, you know, I really just want to plead guilty. I really think, and you know, from jailhouse calls that have been, you know, listened to, that he really just wanted to get his story out there. He does, and like he said at sentencing, he doesn't want to be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he saw cameras that wanted to interview him, so he was gonna drag this out.
Right. Now, do you think anyone could be, I don't know, influencing him that, oh, if you give me your story, I'll write this book, I will, you know, get this money, and then I'll pad your commissary with this money?
Sure.
Yeah, you
Sure.
think that could be going on?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, because then, you know, all these lies come out, and then that's hurtful to the family. And because of social media, it's so enhanced, where before you didn't have social, right?
Right.
They can, if they made a book,
Right.
but now it's like it's in your face. And so tell me
Right.
about the laws tell me of that, what you're trying to do. Because here's what I said before when your case came up and I saw it, because I've been saying there's no one to contact, you know, and I was swatted, okay?
Right.
But there's no one on you. There's no like hotline number, not even for the police, to call YouTube and say, hey, wait a minute, we've got a problem here, you know? They have to put subpoenas in
Right.
and this and that. And by the time you get to that, I said, it's just going to be a matter of time before someone does something, you know, like that video would be released, and to get it down and think about all of that. And I think they always wait till it's too late to do anything. And
Right.
they don't know who's behind these accounts. And the internet, this is how I feel, is real life now. The internet is real life. This is our
Right.
life now. This
It
is our
is.
world,
Yeah.
okay?
It is.
I don't think anybody should be hiding behind, you know, Buffy Muffy, or, you know, like, and they can have any name they want on YouTube. I'm not saying that. They don't have to put their real name on YouTube, but there has to be a real name behind that account that YouTube knows. And there should only be one account per person. You don't need 60 accounts unless you're being a troll, unless you're going trolling.
Right. Well,
Right?
and that's the problem is, like with us, our worst problems were with YouTube and Facebook. And Facebook is, for some reason, it stopped being shared quicker on Facebook, and it continued, you know, for a year and a half on Instagram. And when it was first reported to Instagram, we would get, you know, just the automatic message of this does not go against community standards. And I've had several calls with Facebook officials where I said, my daughter was 17, she was a minor. How are you going to tell me that this picture does not violate community guidelines?
Mhm.
And they said, oh, well, said they were retraining their, because they do have live people. They don't have enough live people. And I said, well, when a live person sees this, I don't care who you are or what values you have, that picture, no one can say that belongs on a social media.
Right.
That does not even belong on the internet anywhere. I don't think that you need training to know
Yeah.
that picture does not belong on Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
And my biggest issue is that these tech companies, there is the technology out there to block this. They refuse to invest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my biggest thing with, you know, Bianca was not an Instagram model. She was not Instagram famous. She became Instagram famous because Instagram failed my daughter. Instagram failed to stop the sharing of these photos. They failed to shut off the comments on my daughter's Instagram accounts. Every time someone clicks on that picture, shares the picture, sends it to me in a direct message, comments on her page. It's user engagement that they're making money off of.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not right. Instagram and Facebook made money off my daughter's death.
Yeah, they exploited it. And
they exploited my daughter's death because of all the clicks and the shares that they got on their platform. And they can show those numbers and sell it to advertisers.
See, but that's what I mean. See, I think if everybody has to have a real profile and you have to have some real identification behind it all, then there should be the same penalties. Like if you're sharing that picture, well, there's penalties to face, and they can find you, and you're not behind a VPN or something where they can't find you, that you're accountable for what you do online because it is real life.
Well, and that's what the Instagram, you know, we were speaking to the head of public policy at Instagram, and she told us, well, you know, we have banned these IP addresses, but they keep using other ones. Well, if you had a verification process, you're correct. If you had a verification process for these accounts, because what they do is they make it, I mean, they were making accounts because Instagram did make it harder to upload the pictures. They have, you know, a hashing bank, and these pictures, you know, it should stop them from being uploaded. It doesn't always work, and they need to fix that. But they would set it as their profile picture and then send a request to me and my daughter and to Bianca's stepfather. They would upload the picture and tag us in it so that we would see that.
Yeah.
They would just create all these fake accounts, you know, one after another to just torture us.
Oh, I know. Believe me. It's terrible. And YouTube, it's so funny because they're using a picture of my little minor boys, right, in a video where they made fun of the death of my son. And I've written to YouTube. I flagged it. I said it's abuse. Still up there. It's still up there. They won't take it down. It's ridiculous. But they'll take down sometimes.
That was one of my issues as well, is, you know, that YouTube creator that, you know, wants to get Brandon's story out and likes to tell his side and defend him. Well, she uses pictures of Bianca for her videos and uses Bianca's name because that's what attracts people.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I mean, like I said, the same thing happens to Sandra Rusak, you know, shenanigans. You've got creators that are that they're saying she murdered her children, and they're using her home videos and you know, but they're saying these horrible things about her. And it's ridiculous, right?
It is absolutely crazy what people are allowed to go and just spread. And you know what? I mean, in Bianca's case, it's just pure slander. And, you know, I brought that up and I said, you know, this is slander. You are slandering my daughter. Well, I can prove it. Well, then show me the proof, because I can prove that what you're saying is wrong.
Right.
If you have proof that you can show me that what you're saying is not slander and it's the truth, where is it? And she dances around it and won't say anything and won't show us anything. Well, I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have proof, and I've shown you the proof that it's not true.
Right. Yeah. That's terrible. But so, yeah, I think, but there's not even, if you go onto YouTube terms of service and you look, abuse of vulnerable individuals is against terms of service. There's also bullying, harassment. There's, you know, slander, defamation. But the thing is, you can't get to a real person on YouTube. It's horrible, okay? It's absolutely horrible. And they just have these automated systems, and they come back and they don't even check, you don't even, and they let all this stuff exist. And I think until a spotlight is really blasted on this, and I think that by you, me, the Ruseks, you know, the Rosemary coming together, and I think there's power in numbers. Really.
Absolutely.
And just getting out there, because they took Facebook, you know, into Congress. He had to answer questions, Zuckerberg, right? And I just don't think, you know, these other social medias are answering any questions.
Well, that's the thing. We have been working with our former congressman, Anthony Brindisi, that last fall, he introduced Bianca's Law. And one of the things that Bianca's Law would do was that every social media site, I think with over 10,000 users, had to establish a point person, a department to handle these types of complaints. And you know, you had to have a point person, like someone needs to be responsible. You need to have human moderators, and you know, enough human moderators. We're not talking 10,000 for, you know, 3 billion people. You know, that can respond to this. You need to have a point of contact. So you can actually, you know, pick up the phone and talk to someone when something like this happens, especially law enforcement.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I said.
Instagram basically told the Utica Police Department, well, there's nothing we can do. They're just it's being shared so fast and uploaded so much, and you know, we just can't. Nothing we do. And that's just, it's not true. You know, Instagram likes to overstate what they did. They immediately memorialized Bianca's account, which locked me out as I was trying to go through her Instagram account, but they kept up the murderer's Instagram account with the story on it, you know, planning my daughter's death, the picture of her bloody body, up for over 24 hours because they wanted to confirm that it was his account. Well, they didn't confirm anything with me about my daughter.
Right. Yeah,
so
that's what I mean. It always works
no
backwards.
Control over it.
Yeah, it always works. It always seems to work that way, right? They always
right.
Yeah, it's terrible, and I think there's got to be something.
It's completely, and that's something that Bianca's Law would do is hold these platforms accountable for what they allow on their sites.
So where are you? I mean, is there anything we can do with? Is there anything that?
Yeah, it's kind of a struggle. So Congressman Dizzy was not reelected, unfortunately. So now we are with Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, and we've contacted her office. We haven't heard back. We're hoping she'll take a stand and push forward, you know, reintroduce the bill, because I think it's really, really important that, you know, these social media companies need to be held responsible. Yeah. This should never happen to anyone again. There's no reason why a year and a half later we are still being harassed with these pictures. Yeah. You know, it's absolutely just disgusting. And social media companies like to say that they completely overstate what they did, how fast the pictures were taken down. I mean, the pictures have been up. We found pictures up in October that were uploaded in July and had stayed up until October. They were continuing to be reshared. Yeah. You know, for over a year. Yeah. And that's just unacceptable. This totally, yeah. No one should ever have to see their loved one, their friend. No one should ever have to see anyone. No, yeah, and that's the thing I want to say, you know, because I felt so bad for your daughter about the thing that, because I've heard it before with other people where it says the creators, and I've taken a stand against them, and that's why I have a lot of hate sometimes too from certain ones, but because I've said you can't victim, you know, this is so crazy. You're picking apart the victims. It's like some game, like, oh, let's see what the victim, like what's wrong with us, pick apart all their flaws, you know, like they don't have any, right? And then they just, all of the emphasis is on the victim. And then when anybody says, what are you guys doing? This is not, you know, like this, what is this about? You sound like a bunch of jealous people, right? And they go, oh no, you understand that hurts the victim's family? Why would you do that? And they go like that, they should just stay off of YouTube. Right. Well, who the hell are they? That's what that they should stay off of YouTube. Maybe they want to take their mind off of things and watch a movie on YouTube, and maybe they want to watch a DIY on, maybe they got into crafts. Why do they have to, they have to get off of YouTube because you can't control yourself about, you know, going and picking apart victims? I mean, that's what I don't get. And when that was said to your daughter, you know, your daughter said she deleted all like her Facebook and her Instagram and this, but she said, what do you mean? You're on YouTube? And she said, well, I'm on YouTube, but I want to look at a makeup tutorial. I want to do this. And you need to get off YouTube. You know, it's like, who said, you know, why? That's so ridiculous because you can't do what you want. You know, they've got to get off. So it's just. Right. No, and that's the thing. Like, what my daughter meant was my daughter doesn't, and her friends, they don't consider YouTube social media. They're thinking Snapchat, you know, Instagram, Facebook. That's social media to them. On YouTube, they're not interacting with people. So to them, it's just a place for videos. Right. My daughter wants to go on and watch makeup tutorials. Yeah. Or, you know, watch clips of shows. Right. Why does our family, why can't we connect with family and friends, you know, from all over
Right.
And stay, we have family all over the country. Why can't we stay connected with our family and friends? Why can't we enjoy social media? Because these people want to be ugly.
Right.
That's, no, I think that is completely wrong. And, I've seen great things come out of social media.
Sure.
In 2012, my niece was diagnosed with a very, very rare form of thyroid cancer. And I made connections with the best doctors in the country on social media from a thyroid cancer Facebook group.
Wow.
And we were able to make connections with doctors that saved my niece's life through Facebook.
Yeah.
So there is definitely really, really good things on social media. Why should we miss out on that?
Yeah, and even
Because
with the
these
pandemic,
people
right?
Want to be ugly, right?
Yeah.
And it's not the majority.
Right.
It's not. It's the few bad ones.
But with the pandemic, I think the social media has been life-saving for people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? That'd be shut in, and not even get out there, So it's been life-saving in so many ways. And you're right, why should anybody be told they can't be there because other people can't control what they do,
right.
that they can't?
I live with my best friend. She has kids that are 10, 11, 12. These kids that have had to stay inside, not go to school for over a year. I don't know what they would have done without FaceTime.
Right.
With their kids.
Yeah.
Watching the funny ASMR videos on YouTube. And we have to worry, these kids grow up together, they call each other brother and sister. And we have to worry that these kids constantly worry that they're going to come across this picture on YouTube or Instagram or anything. We're constantly worried that they're going to click on the wrong link on the internet and see these pictures of their sister.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to worry about that.
No, and even the kids today, like my kids, the little ones, they were going on Zoom, they had to watch Spanish videos on YouTube.
Yes.
So what would you say? Oh, I can't go on there because, these people can't control themselves, so my kid can't go on and watch a Spanish video. So it's not that it's like just entertainment purposes only. This is life. That's what I'm saying. Our life is moving in that direction, and that's just insane that
these
somebody
kids,
says
their math, a lot of their math lessons were on YouTube. Their teachers would tell them to go to YouTube.
Right. Yeah. So it's a shame, but the whole point is it's still against the terms of service. So if YouTube would just enforce them, they can't abuse vulnerable individuals, and that is abuse. Ripping apart someone's murdered child, and ripping them apart. That's abuse. That's abuse of a vulnerable individual.
And it's after you've been told by several family members that what you're saying is absolutely wrong, it's slander, and asked to stop and to continue to spread the lies.
Right.
She talks about mental health issues using a diagnostic book from the 80s that's been updated several times. That's a disservice to anyone with mental health issues.
Right.
Just the misinformation that is being put out there.
And people cling to misinformation. That's what I find. That's the strangest thing that I've seen, because I'll hear a creator saying something that's totally false, completely false. Like I said, could be a toxicology report, and saying so and so has amphetamines in their system, and I'll just watch the chat of these places to say somebody's going to say, no, she didn't, right? And they're all going, yeah. Oh my gosh, she was probably taking diet pills, and they're off to the races, and all they have to do is read the report that's available to everyone now on the Discovery, because the Discovery is online for so many cases, right? But nobody does that. Instead, one person sits up there and says this, and they have this influence on thousands and thousands of people that come there and then continue to spread those lies throughout there, and nobody holds anyone accountable.
Well, and what about all the over-the-counter or prescribed drugs that can come up as illegal drugs? Right, yeah. You know what I mean? If you take too much Benadryl, if you take certain antidepressants, certain, ADHD medication, there's drugs that are prescribed by a doctor, used properly, they can come up as something else.
And then, even decomposition, can come up to show an alcohol content in the body. And we've had creators saying so-and-so was drunk, you know,
Right.
and they weren't. And then the doctors, you know, the medical examiner says, no, that's consistent with decomposition. That's raising the ethanol levels. But there's still critters going, yeah, I guess she was drunk. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
So
That's what we deal with all the time. And, you know, it's like, and I really haven't had a lot of issues on YouTube. You know, just one breeder mostly. But, you know, it's just very frustrating when you have tried to correct them and then they just refuse to be corrected. But we'll believe the murderer. You'll believe anything. You'll say the DA's lying.
Yeah,
And
that's the other thing. The DAs are all corrupt. The police departments are all corrupt. Everybody's, you know, corrupt. The only person you believe is the murderer, right? Because he's, you know, and then he's going to become a preacher.
Well, I can tell you in this case, I mean, the DA did everything by the book, and it was actually like frustrating for us to watch because it's like, you know, the judge didn't even have to give him a hearing to take back his plea. He wrote a handwritten note. Nothing was filled out right. They could have ignored that motion. But the judge wanted to handle it now, get it done with, have the decision made, so it wasn't something that he could appeal on. But if the judge wanted to, he could have dismissed it and said, no, we're not even going to look at this.
Yeah.
But they didn't. He had chance after chance. He had all the evidence. I mean, he had the video, you know, a computer long enough with the video to handwrite a transcript of it. He mailed some of the evidence to his friend.
Right.
So you can't tell me that he didn't have everything that he needed for a proper defense.
Yeah, and they said he did. Because I run through that, and they said that the defense attorney said, no, he had this, he had everything, he had every database that he wanted to look at, he got all the information, and he had way more meetings than he said. He said he had like 5. They said they were there at least 15, 16 times or something. So,
I know the prosecutor told me he was there more than he normally is with defendants. The prosecutor said he's spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the thing is, between when he pled guilty and when he was supposed to be sentenced, and then also that was all held up by COVID, no, the defense attorney did not have a reason to visit him. I guess he visited him a couple times. First of all, visitation was completely shut down. They were not even letting lawyers, you know, people that had active cases. I think the lawyers were doing Zoom or something because there was a point in time that they weren't letting anyone in the jails. But I just, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but what is there to discuss between the time that you pled guilty and the time you're sentenced? Right. You know, you're not going to trial. There's really nothing more that his attorney could have done for him at that point.
Right, and I think the judge was very good at the sentencing where he, you know, what was that about that, you know, like you just thinking about yourself during that time period, right? What went on from when, you know, now you sound like in the beginning when you took this plea that you're responsible for it, but what happened at that period in between when you seem to just be thinking about yourself?
He made everything about himself too. I mean, all the time, even during his plea when he said, you know, he was sorry and stuff, it was more about him and how he felt. And, you know, the sentencing, he was talking about him having nightmares and how he felt and what about me? And it's just, it was very much all about himself. No care for Bianca, what he took from her, what he took from her family. It was just, you know, very cold.
So now Bianca's favorite color is pink, right?
Yes.
Right. So that you guys flooded, there was something about flooding the internet with pink to kind of...
That came with her friends on the internet. When the pictures started being shared, they started this whole movement of pink for Bianca because it was her favorite color. And Bianca always liked she loved like a good pink sky. She had even painted pink flowers on or pink clouds on her bedroom wall. So they just were trying to, what they call, cover up the gore. And so they were flooding the internet and all social media websites with pictures of pink for Bianca. And they tried just to try to cover up on the hashtag that was being used to share the pictures.
Okay, so that's nice. And, you know, again, I'll help you in any way that I can. To, you know, and like I said, I will speak more with Rosemarie about laws and things because she's a champion on that. I'll let her see. I'll
Yeah,
send
I
her
mean,
the
we
link.
really need to, laws need to be enacted to, keep these companies accountable, because
Yeah,
this stuff,
definitely.
we should not, the harassment,
Yeah,
this graphic content should not be on the internet.
not at all.
I shouldn't
And-
have to worry about what my kids are going to see.
Right, and I have your back the whole way. Believe me, not on my watch. Nobody will ever come here and tear apart a victim. It's not allowed.
And I appreciate that.
It's not allowed.
Because,
That's just some things that are just like I don't get.
And I don't care what any victim has done.
Right, it doesn't matter.
No
it
one
doesn't.
deserves to die.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, right?
No one has the right to take another life. They just don't.
Right. Had your daughter even been drunk, it doesn't matter. He killed her. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. That, and why does it's like blaming rape victims or because it was something that they wore. It's always well, where were you? You went down that street, but not that the guy came out and killed you, right?
Exactly.
It's why did you walk down that street? Why did you go out at that hour? Why did you come? Why did you go out for a walk? Why did you jog alone? It's it's always the victim is blamed.
It is.
Yeah, and it's a sad thing. It's a sad state of affairs, and it's coming a lot on YouTube. And there's like all these women that write to these prisoners, and I swear, when you see and it could be any guy now, because this guy isn't even like, we see what he looks like, and it seems like maybe, I don't know, she likes him or whatever, she's writing to him. But if there's one that some consider good looking, like Scott Peterson or something, there's already people writing to him like a lunatic, right?
I know.
And they're in love, and then they're like the biggest champions of these guys, where I don't know. There's that's something all
I don't
itself.
understand that the people that, he murdered someone.
Yeah, right. I know.
I don't know why they're not afraid of them.
Because they think that if they were married to me, or it wouldn't have happened. It's because of this one and this, she was controlling, and she didn't work enough, and she, whatever it is. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. But
it is.
But let's say you said what you said to me. You said how many? There's more good than bad, right? On social media, and
I absolutely, and I still believe that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think that people should have to delete social media because there's bad people on there. I think those few bad, because so if you look at like social media users as a whole, it is only a few bad of them. People, right? They need to be taken care of. They need to have all their social media deleted. Right. They need to be banned.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, and like I said, this community has carried me through. Yes, there's been bad things that have been happening, but the good outweighs the bad. And so far, everybody, and if we could just, curtail it somehow so that people are held accountable like you would in real life, because a lot of these people would never do the things that they do in real life.
Oh, absolutely not.
Never. So if we can, we get, this is real life, and if they start being held, what did you brought that picture out? Well, you're going to go to jail for that. So maybe people will stop doing this crap, and I think we have to.
Yeah, there's actually, so Assemblywoman Marianne Boutenshon here in Central New York has put forth more of a detailed law, Bianca's law, which would make sharing these type of photos, depending on what, the photo, it would go anywhere from a misdemeanor to a felony. Mm-hmm. So like the picture of Bianca would be a felony. And that's being put forth as a New York state law right now. And we're trying to get support for that as well.
Okay. You know what? So we're in message. You can send me like any links or anything, and I can get them out, and I can even share them here. I'll share them with Rosemary, and I definitely want to help you with whatever you need. Yeah. Okay. And
yes.
Did anybody have any questions for Kim? You can type them up now. I can look at the chat and see. But thanks.
Goodness.
Hi, Davida. Thanks everybody they're giving you pink hearts for Bianca. Let's see. It takes a minute because there's always like a delay, but
yeah.
Let's see. I'm just putting the pink hearts up. It's nice. And when is Bianca's birthday?
October 2nd.
a second. Do you do something special for her then? What?
We do. The first year we had a bee themed party. We had just a bunch of family over, her like favorite foods. We always kind of gathered a gray site. We released balloons and paper lanterns. This year, because of COVID, it was smaller. But we did have a gathering at her grave site.
Oh, that's nice. They said, what they want to know what your skincare routine is because your skin looks so young.
I don't really have one. I'm like so bad. Cetaphil is about it. I know everyone always tells me I look so young. Most people thought Bianca and I were sisters.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see if they're, although we have not seen them, they're always with us. Yeah. Any other questions for Kim? Bianca's gorgeous. Takes after her mom, Alma says.
Thank you.
See the people, lots of prayers and stuff. And I would say go through the chat later when it loads up because I'm sure you have a ton of support in there. You look like you're 15, Alma says. Thanks for sharing. It has to be heartbreaking. You are truly brave. I'm so sorry you had to endure this terrible pain. Good genetics. Good for you. I would like to tell Kim what an outstanding statement Bianca's grandfather gave. Yes, right. Yes. And
He did. Oh, my dad. I don't know what I'd do without him. Bianca and Olivia call him Superman. I was so young when I had Bianca. I had her just a couple weeks before my 18th birthday, and my parents helped me raise her. We lived with them.
mm-hmm.
When they were growing up, probably the majority of their childhood.
Right.
And so he was just really, really close with my girls, and that's his bean pop. And he kind of, everyone, said of the sentencing that he kind of spoke for everyone. Like he really gave it to Brandon, and
he did. If you were ugly, I wouldn't tell you, but if you're gorgeous, then I'm telling you. And Kim is hot, Alma said. Alma says it like it is. Alma's, let's see. Thank you for helping to get us to know your lovely daughter, Bianca, Robin Lane said. Bless you and your family, Kim. We will keep you in our prayers. Kim, did Bianca love Disney? I'm 41, but I still adore Disney.
She went there as a baby, and she went there when she was like 6, I want to say. But yeah.
Yeah, and then let's see, Nanny Love says, let's see. Oh no, that's not Nanny Love. Who's that? I want to give my deepest sympathies to your family, what you've suffered. Okay, Kim, I can't say enough about your pain. I can't even imagine. Please know so many people care about you and would do anything to bring Bianca back.
Thank you.
Kim, thanks for sharing your heartbreaking story. It helps me to know Bianca more and keeps her memory alive in many hearts. Yeah, and you're always welcome here. And I'm telling you, you're not going to do anything because we take care of each other. We don't allow that in this community. So, thank you so much for opening up and sharing your journey. My prayer is not that you take them out of. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. John 17:15. Okay, you can go to bed now. Good night, Brooke. As always, you're amazing, Kim. Thank you, Carolyn, for being a good.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, I think you had a friend because I noticed it came in and said.
Shout out to Amy Casey.
Right, yeah.
Amy is a very gifted medium, and I don't know if I would have gotten through this without her.
Oh yeah.
Not only connecting me to Bianca, but teaching me how to connect to her. I think it's been so important with my grieving process, and just knowing that Bianca is still with me.
Do you feel her with you? So I love to talk to people like that because I lost my son, and it's like, sometimes sometimes you don't feel, certain things,
I do. I feel her. Olivia feels her. You know, Bianca's a part of our daily life. Just, you know, a light will flicker and we'll be like, hi, Bianca. Or the kids will be like, I heard a weird sound. And we're like, oh, it's just Bianca. It's fine. And like, they're not afraid. It's just, you know, okay, my sister's still with me. She's just giving us signs. And that I really, really, I don't know that I could get through this.
I know, you can't. So I love to hear that. I do. I love to hear when people have signs or they're, you know, they're very, because I just, it spurs me through because sometimes I hit like lows,
Right.
like, but you know, if I don't have a sign, because my son and I were so close, like you said, she was your best, he was my best friend. And I just like sometimes, you know, and sometimes I need a neon sign because I'm a skeptic from New York. So
Okay,
it's
so
like,
I'm a skeptic too.
Yeah.
Raised Catholic.
yeah,
Went to Catholic schools my whole life. So, you know, I was always very skeptical. And then I met Amy, and I've never seen anyone so accurate. Like when she says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. And just the messages that she brings from Bianca and other family members, there's no way that she could, it's nowhere in Google. It's not out there. She definitely like brings forward Bianca's personality. Bianca could be very unfiltered, and Amy will often have to apologize for her language. And I'm like, yep, it's my girl. Because I used to tell Bianca, you know, you're so beautiful and you wear these cute little pink flower outfits, and then you open your mouth and you sound like a sailor.
yeah,
You know, her language didn't match her
right.
you know, with the outside. But yeah, and for Olivia and I, it's really just, we've been on this like spiritual journey that I think Bianca's leading us. You know, it stuff like this, it tests your faith.
Oh, yeah.
It really.
Yeah, I think if you don't have, like, to think that you don't have, I think that would be the worst, you know, to think that that's it. I don't even know how, oh my gosh, how you would even go on.
I mean, before COVID, my father and I went to Compassionate Friends meetings, and there was this couple there, and they're atheists. And I just, you know, my dad and I would talk and be like, I don't know how I would deal if I believed that, you know, if we didn't have the belief that she was still with us.
I don't know.
And you know, to not be able to believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
In the afterlife.
Right.
I just, you know,
yeah.
But I feel her. She's so strong.
Yeah.
She really, you know, make sure, and that's Bianca. I mean, when she was alive, we had a connection. You know, she couldn't lie to me because I know I could just feel it.
Right.
Or if there was something wrong with her, you know, if she wasn't feeling well, or she was, you know, having a bout of depression, or just it was getting worse, I could feel. I know, like you didn't even have to ask. And that connection definitely has remained. And
good.
You know, with her sister as well, they used to finish each other's sentences. And so it's been a journey, but
yeah, no, I like to hear that. Really, I like to hear. Like, I always ask you, do you have signs? Do you have this? Like, really, because it spurs me along. Because sometimes I can get like really low, you know, like just low.
Yeah.
You know.
It is. It's really hard, and you know, a lot of times, of course, I'm a skeptic, and I'll have to like texting and be like, okay, what do you think? Like, is this real?
Yeah. Yeah.
So. Yeah, but it's, you know,
like, and then there's, I do have that neon sign. Like we got a new puppy recently, and when we pulled into this place to eat, and we were sat there, and my son's name is Raymond Ray, right? Truck pulls in next to us, and I took a picture. It said Raymond on the truck door, just like that. I looked right out. If there was nothing between us, and I just said, oh my gosh, right? That, you know, like it'll be something like that, a neon sign. Or like right after he passed away, the next night I got 3 calls at 1:11 in the morning from his old number, not the number he currently had, his old number. You know, 3 calls, and they said they do things through electronics, and wacky things can happen with electronics. And then I'm really into numbers, like I always have been, just like, and it's not like somebody says, is it numeral? No, but I can just tell you, like, I can look at a number that maybe I look at, or it's on a signpost, and it connects to something. I can say, oh, that's the birthday and this and that. And all these things were adding up to things about my son that I've
Right.
had. Like the number 19 has always been in my life. It's been like in addresses is my father's the year he was born, and my son was born on the 19th, and this 19 follows me. Like it's
Right.
on all my license plates, or it's and I see it, and that's him. And like my son, the one that's really close to him, my older son, saw a lottery ticket in a slot. It was number 19. He said he wasn't even buying them. He said, "Let me have number 19." $500 he won. He goes, "Thanks, bro." You
See?
know.
Yeah.
He just said, so it's
Yeah.
little things like that, but it's
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. It's hard, but it's the little signs, just the feelings, that you get that, they're still there with you.
Yeah. See, I tell him I'm like, if I know you're like, I'll be okay if I know he's here and then I'll see him one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you can be okay, because then I think that maybe he was chosen for something even bigger. Like
Mhm.
that one day we'll see that it wasn't, because everybody's like pities you and right, oh, poor thing, poor thing.
Yeah.
But
right.
maybe, like I tell the other, maybe our kids were chosen for something so much greater that when we get to wherever we're going to see this. And while everybody pitied us or, felt bad for us,
Right.
our
Right.
kids were part of something spectacular that for,
Right.
the rest of our life.
That's what Amy's helped me realize is just, kind of soul contracts and keeping that connection. And, we have this connection for a reason, but yeah, there was a greater reason why this happened to us.
Right.
And, well, we can't see it now. Bianca's experiencing it.
Right.
And it helps some days. Other days you just want to scream, but I still want you here.
Right. Yeah.
I know that you're with me spiritually, but I
Yeah.
want you physically here. And that sometimes is kind of it makes it harder, because it's, I know you're with me spiritually, but I want you here with me. I want to talk to you, and
Right. Right.
I want to hug you, and I want you grow up.
Yeah, yeah, and that they didn't have kids, or that they didn't experience those things that you wanted to see, right? Yeah, so
Right. Right.
yeah, it's
So
hard. But,
it's hard. Don't know how I'm getting through, but I am not. Really
yeah.
sure.
Well, there's that numbness, right? And sometimes it's surreal, like they're just somewhere else, Like
It's still surreal. Like I'm still, and that's how I can talk about it. Still, is I don't. I mean, we're over a year and a half in, and it's like I still haven't come out of the shock.
Right. Yeah.
Don't. The only thing I kind of have to explain it is that it's so traumatic. I think my brain protects me. I don't know if I can actually ever really process that she's gone.
Right. Yeah.
I'll never forget when Bianca passed. My brother lost his best friend in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to his mother, I said, "When does it become real?" And she said, "I've, been on this 13 years and I'm still waiting for him to come home."
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know if it'll ever be real for me.
Yeah. I know it's.
I get a lot of times where it just kind of hits me like, wow, did this really happen? And I don't know. And I think maybe because of the way she passed,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This stuff doesn't happen to
Right.
people, like it just seems like
Right.
that
That
only
happens to people on TV, and
But
not to
it's just like, wow, that really happened to it's devastating that really happened to my daughter.
Right, yeah. It's something, and like I said, it's a club nobody wants to be in, but
It is.
some of the best people I've met in this club, because there's just
Yeah.
like such an instant bond, if you will, right? Because we what everybody's worst nightmare is. We're living it,
But that's the thing is, and there's nothing else to compare it to.
No.
Losing a child.
No.
I don't. I always worried about Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can ever prepare yourself for how bad it is.
Right, yeah. It's and then people look on the outside, and it's other people, like if they, how are they, or they say, how do you do, if I were you, I couldn't get up every day, but like, okay, my son wouldn't want me to live like that, and I've got other kids, and you have to, right? They almost make you feel guilty for
Yeah.
that you're not in a heap in the corner, but they don't know where you are all the time. They see a certain part of you. Like even if I'm on here, they don't see what I'm doing the rest of my time, or they don't know what I'm doing before I go to bed or in the shower, or, and they'll
Right.
say, oh, I could never do that. I couldn't be that strong. Well, you'd have to be, I mean, nobody knows what they have to do until you have to do it. Right.
Well, and with us, we have other kids.
Yeah.
Not only, I had a dream a couple months after Bianca passed, where she came to me and said, "You have to be happy." And I said, "Bianca, I can't do this." I mean, it would feel wrong to laugh or even to smile.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "You have to be happy. You have to be happy for me. I'm happy. You have to go on." And that's still even difficult, because I know I know I have to win. But it's just how do you, but I have kids. I have Olivia. She needs me to be strong.
Yeah.
She's a teenager. She lost her sister at 15 years old.
Yeah.
You have to get up, and you still have to be a mom, and, provide for your kids,
Mm-hmm.
take care of them.
Yep. Yep.
Olivia, I help raise Bianca and Olivia's half sister, Maddie. She's 3.5, and I've got to take care of them.
Right.
I take care of my roommate's kids with her. We have to. We don't have the choice to sit in a ball and cry all day.
Right.
That doesn't mean that all day long I don't have the image of what happened to my daughter going through my head. So while you may think I'm looking normal, inside you're absolutely devastated, and you have this horrible image that keeps popping into your head.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there's a memory of your child.
Mm-hmm. So that's why.
Or you're wishing they were there.
And you got to have that faith, because if you don't have that faith, I think that I can't even imagine dealing with that without, faith. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't even know how. I don't know how. I don't even know how you would reconcile your anything if you didn't have faith. Like, how.
Right.
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't. That would be the worst thing.
My kids.
Because I went through this thing, like when he died, I was like trying to find proof. Like I had to have proof, because I deal with facts, right? That's what I do.
Right.
And in doing that, I ran across some bad articles, right? And the people that, like atheist articles like that. And I got myself in a bad funk, and I thought, oh no. And I remember just this dread, this horrible dread. And I couldn't tell any, and I just thought, I can't even live. I can't. There's no way that I will even be able, if I, and I had to get it back. And then I did. Someone came into my life and told me something, like you said, something that she couldn't know, and got it back. And I felt like, okay, I've got to get myself out. But I, just for that little split second that I thought, like, I don't know how they can really reconcile it. I don't.
I mean, even my father, who was brought up with a strong faith, but he's also very factual based, very scientific. And the one thing he did say to that couple that were atheists were, if you want to look at it in a scientific way, energy cannot be created or destroyed,
right?
And your child's soul is an energy. So that sort of, kind of helped that, we are all energy, and they, their physical bodies may no longer be with us, their energy is still, Bianca's is very strong with me. It's a little bit difficult. We're just now getting questions from the 3.5-year-old Maddie. Bianca and Maddie were very, very close.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie would tell everyone her stepmother had the baby for her. And she just, she loved Maddie. You can still see there's the connection there. But I brought her to Bianca's grave, and she wanted to know, she asked where Bianca was. So I tried to just tell her that, well, she's, buried under there. And, well, I thought she was in the sky. And so it's very confusing of, well, she's still with me. And we see signs that I think Maddie kind of sees her or like feels her. Because Maddie's gotten a lot of signs and given us signs.
Right.
By things she says and does, and but it's just that's one of the hardest parts is having to, explain to kids
Right. Yeah.
what happened, especially such a young one, so
Yeah.
that's really hard is, Maddie really, it's hard. She'll never know Bianca.
Yeah.
And, Bianca who just loved her sister so much.
Yeah. I know that Joan D'Alessandro's mother, Rosemary, she had two children after Joan died, and she put her pictures around. She told them about, she constantly kept Joan in their lives, like never just put her away or just didn't talk about her, had her front and center, and told these other two brothers about her, and they are like part of her foundation now, and they know all about her, even though they never physically met her, because of the way Rosemary kept her alive.
That's exactly how we are with Bianca. Maddie's funny because if you ask her, like, who told you that? Or who told you could do that? She'll say, BB. The kids call Bianca BB. And her answer for everything is BB. She got a new doll the other day and told us her name was Bianca. And that's the first time she ever said her, because everyone just calls her B or BB. And that's the first time Maddie said Bianca. So I'm like, oh, there she is. That was one of our, neon light signs.
Yeah.
From B. She named her baby that. But we have pictures everywhere. And Maddie talks about BB every day. And but it's funny. Yeah. Every time you say, who told you that? BB.
So that's nice. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
But,
that's it. We just, we try to keep Bianca alive as much as we can. She is still our family. She's
right. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. It's just, just different, just changed, right?
It's just in a different way.
Yeah. But it was a pleasure meeting you. I really do. And
thank you.
Definitely
you as
stay
well.
in touch with you. And like I said, I will help you any way that I can. So just any links you want to pass along that I can share with people for the laws or anything you need us to do, let us know.
Okay.
And we'll keep guard. We not on our watch over here will we allow any craziness to go on. No.
Yeah, I think, I appreciate that because, we should not have to delete our social media.
No, definitely not. Nope. And you're always welcome here. Please come and see us. And,
thank you.
But thank you. So for coming in, telling your story, letting us get to know Bianca, a beautiful girl, and, special angel. And she's there. She's there.
She is. She's left no breath.
I'm sure she brought. I always say that all the people that I've met, even before Ray died, was Rosemary, and I swear that Joan brought us together because the things that I did, like, because I learned about it as a little girl. And then I came here when I was doing true crime, and I said, "Does anybody know the story of this little Girl Scout?" And they said, "No, no one knew it. Everybody knows every case." So like you could believe, I could ask them any case, they knew it, and they didn't know this one. So I said, "Well, let me make a video." And then I happened to make the video right around the time because she passed away during the Easter week, and I made the video, and then it was like the next year on February, the brother saw it, and the mother said to me, "You made this beautiful video about my daughter. I have to meet with you." And then she came into my life right at the very time that led up to my own son passing away. And she had this like Bible group that we used to go to. It was multi-denominational on like a Sunday, and it was during the the pandemic and stuff. So I was there. I met some people, and right up into the time, and then she connected with me, and I say that's what I'm saying. There's no coincidences, like how people are brought together. And like my friend Davita, who also lost a daughter, she said to me, "How did I connect with you?" And I said, "I don't know. Something just told me, just do this thing." I said it just like happened, and that's how things do. And I think there is a divine connection there of how like where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to do, what and it just works out, and people come into your life for a reason, and people leave your life for a reason, and people, but yeah, I really do believe that. See, when I do that, I see there's no coincidences like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And how, when you told me about Joan, I went to her website and I was looking at the story, and the first thing that struck me was she was a Girl Scout, because Bianca was a Girl Scout, Olivia was a Girl Scout, I was the Girl Scout leader.
Yeah.
I
was the Girl Scout leader
sell
too.
Cookies. Yeah, they used to sell cookies, and she, this kind of happened was selling cookies, and I mean, it's just, there's definitely, the divine bringing all these connections together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like I said, power in numbers. And I know, Rosemary loves to help out anyone, and, Sandra's behind you too. And,
and we have a lot of common goals. So it would be really nice.
Yeah. So definitely this is the start of a wonderful, friendship, and hopefully do many things, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's gotta be, Bianca was the type of person that always looked for a silver lining. And she would always say, the silver lining. And I think if we can find a teeny tiny silver lining out of losing our children, it's to pass laws, and, make these social media, big tech companies, responsible for what's on their platforms, and, not allowing us to be harassed.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And let people see, like, just, how would you like it if that was you,
Right.
Is that what you would like? Would you like someone picking apart your,
Exactly. One of the worst stories that I got from one of Bianca's friends is one of her childhood friends from elementary school was on the beach on summer vacation, and someone sent out a picture of Bianca, and her father said she was hysterical, screaming like I've never heard her scream before, and she showed me her phone, and that's how you find out about the death of your childhood friend.
Wow.
It's just, and it's all because of social media and these evil people.
Yeah, there are some evil people. I mean, really evil. That I saw a comment that somebody said, they would be happy if I just took a bunch of pills and killed myself. And I saw women, 70-year-old women, hearting it, and these other people that are against bullying, cheering over there. Yes, I wish she would kill herself. I mean, it's like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
That's against the terms of service right there, telling someone to kill themselves, and then sitting there and applauding it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just, that's disgusting, and that should not be accepted on this.
No, it shouldn't be. And that's like another thing that just stays up, and then, it's right out there in the open, and it's against the terms.
And do your kids have to read that and see that?
Of course my kids could read it. I've had kids, my son has a channel, and I've had people go there to his channel and write stuff. I mean, there's a lot of just really horrible people, but again, the good outweigh the bad, but the horrible ones need to go. They're the ones that need to get out of here, really.
Yeah. They need to go because they're ruining it for everyone else. And, it's the minority.
Yeah.
But they do make it hard. So
yeah.
There definitely needs to be something done.
Yeah. But I know I appreciate you coming on, and
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I want you to go back when, later on when this replays, go back because you have a lot of support in the comments.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
It is, the support we have a Facebook group, Remembering Bianca Devins, and just the support from around the world, the people that she's touched, it's just really amazing, and it does help. It really, I wish Bianca was here to see it.
She can see it.
She struggled so much.
Yeah, she can see it. I'm sure she's like, Mom, I can see it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's, I think, they, I don't know, there's just, they're doing a lot that we don't know yet, and we'll see, but they're probably like, because I always think like, they're like, what do you think we're doing? We're doing all this, right? But, and I'm sure, like they're probably, the worst thing for them is like, look at them down there, going through all this. They don't even know how great life is, once, right? I think they have to get through. Thank you very much, Tammy.
Yeah, I mean, I get messages from Amy where she, when things are bad, she'd be like, Mom, stop. stop, stop
Right.
torturing yourself.
Yeah, because like Mother's Day, you want to hear something silly? Mother's Day, I just expected this huge sign from my son because we're so close, right? That where would he be? But it's Mother's Day. You're going to be thinking of your mother, and you're going to send me this my first tremendous sign, right?
Right.
And our day was busy, and we were running around, and like I did see things, like my husband said maybe you didn't pay attention, like maybe you weren't looking, but I said no. Well, here's me, the skeptic, right? Well, he would make sure that I was paying attention. He would do. So,
Right.
like we saw a fox, and I'm like, is that my sign? But it was kind of behind a bush, and it really wasn't out in the open. And because he loved animals, so a lot of times my signs come from animals. But and I wrote down last night, and I said to Sandy, I said, because I was upset, and I said I didn't get a sign on Mother's Day, and she said, you think you didn't get a sign? Maybe you got a sign you didn't even see it, or I don't even remember what she told me, but she told me something. She's like, he loves you so much, that, and don't worry about it. He's there. I'm telling you, and But it was like I've been carrying this sign around for like however long, like to myself, and I know it's been making me feel like really upset, and then just thinking like going to this horrible thoughts like, well, maybe there is nothing, because why wouldn't he not do that? And I don't know. I know. Yeah, that's just like some crazy stuff. So.
Yeah, but then they show up when you least expect it, and
and you see, right? Yeah, like you see that truck that comes by, and then you're like, yeah. Oh, she was telling me, she's like, you don't realize sometimes it may be very hard to do something, and maybe they did something and you didn't see it, and then to get that, or maybe it was a subtle sign, and you just don't think that that's it, that he could not be thinking of you, because he's thinking of you, he's there. So in fact, she got me this, she says, because he's sitting here in the kitchen with me, so she says, this is, put it by your computer when you're there, because he's right there. So I have this right here. So she said, and she told me that when she was walking around the store, he kept telling her, because she's Catholic, but she has like some visions too, right? So, and some of the stuff has helped me. She said he kept saying, "Please buy my mother that. Please buy that for my." She kept going by, and she went around again and said, "Please buy that for my mother. Please buy that for my mother." And so she did. So, and it looks a lot like, it's so perfect. So it's.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of Catholics are afraid to kind of tap into that and their intuition, and my friend Amy, being a Catholic as well, has kind of taught me that it's not against our religion, and I've spoken to other people too who have kind of explained it, and God gives us this talent and this ability.
Right. And there's a lot of Catholics that have visions, that have them themselves. And so, I think it's when you, like, she doesn't like those voice boxes or whatever, when they're trying to channel that.
I'm not comfortable with the voice box either. That seems very, I don't believe in them. I think it's all static. I don't hear anything. So one person did a voice box. But I do, I've seen it. I have gotten visions of Bianca. And they become stronger all the time. I can hear her. And Amy's helped me develop that. It's definitely, tap into it, because I'm just so skeptical. And, but, I believe, being Catholic, raised Catholic, I believe that God gave us these abilities. My personal opinion is, I don't think that our God would take our children away or any loved one away without giving us the ability to still have a connection with them.
Right, yeah.
That's my belief in it.
Right, yes.
So, and I just, like Shannon, I said, it's gotten me through.
Shannon says, I have the same things happen, Mommy, Catholic here. So, yeah, she's telling me the signs that Ray's given me a lot of signs. So,
yeah.
I know. It's just like you keep wanting more and more, right? Like it's
right.
Yeah, it's just because they're your kids, and of course you want to feel them around. But it's just, thank you, Tammy. Love to you both. Even though Davina Lane really speaks of the loss of her daughter, it's pretty brave to be here supporting another mother. Oh yeah, Davita's one of the first people that reached out to me, And that's what I've got from this community, that, you know, like people said, well, how did I come back to the community so fast? This community held me up, you know. I don't know where I would have been without it. I really don't.
Right.
I don't
Exactly.
know.
No, I can see that.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's what gives you strength.
Yeah. Because, you know, then
Absolutely.
I could have just lost myself, you know, like just went into about the motions. But, you know, it brought people to me that were in this situation, like, you know, that reached right out to me. And because you can feel very alone, like no one's ever lost a child. Like, you know, a lot of people in my real life haven't lost a child, like right around me, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like when people reach out and they say, you know, I did, and especially if they have something that they feel their loved one with, that's really important to me. You know, I always ask somebody, do you have signs, or, you know, and a lot of people just reached right out to me. So that was really important.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I think it's especially important to connect to people that have gone through this loss. I think, you know, because there just isn't anything to compare to it.
No. And I think like if I hadn't read the books about the numbness, because I thought something was wrong with me. I thought something was wrong with me. I was telling the doctors that I said, there's something wrong with me. I said, because my son died, and you're telling me my son died, and I don't feel anything.
Yep.
And he was my best friend, and I don't feel anything. And I actually told them that.
Yeah.
I said, why don't I feel anything? What's wrong with me? And they said, you're in shock.
I used to say the same thing. My dad would always tell me it's your, you know, your body. My dad, being very scientific, it's, you know, a phenomenon of the brain that it just protects you. And I honestly believe that my brain is protecting me, because I don't think I can handle the loss of I honestly don't know that I can handle it.
Yeah. And you know,
so I think that I'm just
crazy
right now, clouded in shock.
Yeah. And there's some things I still can't do. Like, I was sent a lot of cards. Now the cards, or anything from the Ramblers, that's what we call this community, I was able to open. Okay, but the cards that came from my real family members and stuff, my husband would come in with them. I'd say, don't open it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't open them, and they're not open till this day. They're in a box. Okay, and for some reason I can't open them. And the only thing I can think of is that, and somebody told me, I think it was Sandy told me, they don't know my pain. And in a way, I don't want to open that, because they still have a perfect family. In a way, you know what I mean? And I don't want to open that, because if they're giving me their condolences or whatever, it's like making it very real. Or I don't know what it is. They're just in a box. I can't open them.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. Okay. Olivia doesn't like to go to like large family gatherings, because she says, well, our family's not complete. She doesn't like to she won't take a family picture, because she said, our family's not complete. Bianca's not here.
Yeah.
You know, it's certain things like that. I have a hard time in my kitchen. Bianca and I spent a lot of time in the kitchen. She would come sit, and we, you know, watch TV and stuff while I did dishes and cleaned the kitchen and cooked or whatever. And, you know, that one specific room is really, really hard for me to be in. It's hard for me to sit down at the family dinner table, because there's that empty seat.
Yeah. It's,
you know, it's just your daily things. I don't think people understand how much.
Right. And then I read your thing about the car, you know, and that's more than one person. I said, we have a grief panel here sometime.
Yeah.
And then one mother, she said everything was going wrong, and then her car caught on fire, and all she could think was, that's the last car that she ever drove with her son in, and now it's gone. You know, it's gone, and she doesn't have it. And I still, like, I got a new van after 14 years, and I still have my old one. And it's like, I know he rode in that one, right? And my new one, like, I think, like, well, he knew I was buying the car, but then he never got to be in this car with me. And then you said you just broke down, didn't know what it was.
I picked it up, I didn't want it. I told my mom. My van, on Halloween of last year, we had a really, really bad flood. My van got flooded, and I mean, we just tried everything to fix it. And then I was like, I don't want a new one. I want this old one. Bianca's never ridden in this van. And then I was okay for a few days. I went and picked it up, and I had to stop at Target, and I just lost it. I just, you know, driving that first time without her, it's just something that she wasn't in. And, you know, it's just,
but see,
you know, I cling very closely to her things, her clothes, you know, just.
Do you ever have, like, sometimes if I'm writing, alone, I always say, okay, Rick, come on, let's go. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like he's there, right? Just like, so he is there,
Well, that's the thing is, Bianca loved that. She loved car rides. We would sing. She had playlists, because, in the summer, every weekend we would drive up to our camp, and Olivia, her younger sister, stayed at camp with my mom all summer, and had a job there. And then Bianca and I would drive up together. So it would just be us every weekend, and she had playlists for our car rides. She just loved the car. She just liked to drive around. And so yeah, the car is, I definitely feel her when I'm in the car alone.
Right.
It's definitely, I can kind of see her out of the corner of my eye in the passenger seat.
And sunsets.
Yeah.
I've never looked at sunsets and the sun in the like I do now. I've never looked at.
Bianca loved pink sunsets, and she wouldn't. I don't care where we were, what we were doing. We had to pull over. She wanted to take pictures, and like I said, she even drew pink clouds on her wall. It was probably a few weeks before she passed, and so now that's a big thing, a way that we remember her. All of Bianca's friends, in our Facebook group, they post a lot of pink sunsets because everyone's saying it's Bianca painting the sky.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people have remarked, like, I've never seen sky so pink since we lost Bianca. And she, that's one of her signs for us is the pink sunsets.
That's nice. Yeah. I've never seen, like, I don't ever remember seeing some of the sunsets that I've seen.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, that's what we say too. My brother lives in, he lives in Maryland, works in Washington, D.C., and he'll send me pictures of, like, the sunset, and just one time it was like, there's just like one pink. I walked out of work and there was one pink cloud. He's like, I know it was her.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right.
That's her way of, that's a lot of her signs are through sunsets.
Yeah. So, that's nice. Well, again, I feel like we're like the laborers. Wait, before you go, you can grab something, right? But no, thank you. I know it's late for you, and thank you so much for coming in talking to us. And definitely, you're welcome here, and you're part of this community.
I appreciate that because I really, I think talking about Bianca helps. Getting the truth out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and anytime you want to clear up anything
about what happened to her.
Yeah.
I want the truth out there.
Definitely. And anytime, like, you want, if there's ever something circulating and you want to clear something up, you're welcome to clear up anything, because that's what we do too. We try to get the truth out 100%.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for coming in, and thank all you guys for watching, and thanks for taking care of the chat and being good, and thanks to everybody for being good. And everybody have a great night. I love you guys. God bless. Prayers for all that need them. God bless you. Prayers for everything that you need.
You too.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.